Hi, I'm Jason, a producer on MLB Champions over here at Lucid Site. With me today is Fosri, our executive producer.
Hey Jason, hey everyone. First off, I want to welcome everyone back for a great MLB Champions season 2019. For those who joined us last season in 2018, special hi and glad you're joining us again.
Nice to be here, and I'm glad that people are watching. So,
Oh, actually, I do want to introduce Jason. So Jason's a new addition to the team here. Jason is going to be leading MLB Champions development and production. He's our lead producer on the project. So we're always watching Discord. We always love to hear your comments. You guys make sure you post them there if there's anything you want more information about, any questions you have, and we'll make sure to get back to you guys as quickly as possible.
works for me. So, we're here to discuss gameplay for MLB Champions 2019. I'm excited. I know you're excited. But before we start discussing gameplay, we should probably talk a little bit about the draft. Could you give us some insights of what the draft consists of?
Sure. So the 2019 MLB Player Draft is our way of spreading MLBC figures to all our users. The way the draft works is we have 195,000 players total that will be distributing throughout the season. These are distributed currently in our MLB figure crates. You guys have been buying them already. You've been finding legendaries and epics and finding some of the new stuff we have hidden away. It's very important to point out on this that there's only 6,500 players per team. So it's still a very tight supply when you look at a per team basis and also based on the number of users we plan to have this season. In the pool, we have different rarity levels, and as a lot of you have seen, we have this new color system for identifying rarity. Our ultra rares are purple, our rares are blue, and then we have yellow that represents our epics. Epics make only about under 2% of our total overall seed pool, and they represent the highest quality cards based on the attributes that they have.
Cool. Well, that sounds really awesome for me. But so thinking about those numbers, it seems like just kind of like off the top of my head, just doing some math. It seems like there's a bit more kind of like high quality attributes than in 2018. Is there a really specific reason for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So in 2018, we only sold about 15,000 figures by design. We kept it small and tight to really prove out this concept and see how MLB Champions was going to play out. And in that, we started testing and releasing some really rare attributes. Those who saw the Jade and Diamond bats last season know what we're talking about. This season, however, we're keeping those attributes actually rarer than last season based on our projected overall player count and what we expect to have at the end of the season. So, though there is, say, 30 or 40 iridescent gloves already this season or in iridescent bats this season, over the lifetime of the game, we still expect that to be a very small fraction of the overall total. Along with that, those who played with us last season might recall that there were some hidden gems that came out during the gameplay, and we are definitely planning and expect to have some new attributes pop up as additional rewards for playing throughout the season.
Awesome. Like, I know I love surprises, so that big for me that we're gonna
Huh?
have a bunch of cool stuff that our users can kind of be excited about as we move forward with the year. So, kind of based off a quick recap, why would someone want to keep an eye out for those attributes in particular? Like, I know they look really cool, but is there another reason for why like someone should like kind of want to have those in their collection?
Absolutely. First, I'm going to say 2018 players, they are still absolutely playable and valuable for this season. They could contribute to your point total, they'll contribute to caps, and they will contribute to inheritance. And I think inheritance is the key thing here that people need to target into when you're thinking about what players you want. By design, our algorithm that created our seed pool did it completely randomly. We did not cherry pick or add special Mike Trouts or Aaron Judds. What we did was we did a random distribution of all assets, attributes, and players to create our seed pool for MLBC figures. Now, out of that seed pool, you might want an Aaron Judge with a Sapphire bat. Well, it's it's hard to tell if that's going to actually come up in the seed pool, but as a player playing MLBC when gameplay launches, you'll be able to inherit those attributes and try to create your Aaron Judd or Mike Trout. And I think this is a really key important point people need to understand for the season. You can have a game card with 22 players. That's 22 different attributes you could stack into your favor to potentially get that attribute in your reward at the end of the game. And as we have announced already in our initial gameplay blog, you're going to have 3 opportunities to get a reward that has inherited values. Where unlike last season, you only had a couple opportunities based off the events that occurred. Now, these opportunities are going to work off our PRI system that we talked about earlier, and I'm not going to get into too much detail now. We'll follow up with a more comprehensive blog, and Steve will join us here in a second and go into it. But there's a lot of strategy involved in this season. MLBC is basically a strategy baseball game with digital scarcity, and this is something where I know players are going to discover new ways to play, understand, and generate the players that they're looking, the figures they're looking for this season.
Well, that sounds awesome for me, and like you said, we should probably have kind of like a little bit more in-depth dive into the gameplay, and I know like Steve is probably the perfect person to explain all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So we're here with Steve, lead designer for MLB Champions, who's going to run us through some of the gameplay changes and kind of cool new stuff that we've got in store for you guys for the season. So Steve, take it away.
All right. So first off the bat, this season we've enhanced the game card. You're no longer tied to just 9 players from last season. We've actually added a bench and a bullpen to the game card, so now you can place up to 22 players onto your game cards. The cool thing about the bench this year is actually it ties into what Fozzie was talking about earlier, the inheritance, so you can stack your game card with a lot more players to try to get those figures that you really want to get with all those special attributes. But yeah, that's the big thing about these game cards this season. The next thing is basically the 2019 players for this season actually get a bonus, so they'll earn 20% more caps at the end of each game. In 2018, you can still play them as they are. They'll earn 100% of what they normally make. And yeah, that's pretty much the big things for the game card in 2019.
I mean, I think that's a lot of good changes. I think that'll help, like, I can use my 2018 guys, but if I decided to get some guys in the draft, I mean, that's even better for me, right?
Exactly.
More rewards is better overall. That's what I always say. Terrible saying, but I always say it. But, kind of thinking about that, like, how does, like, it sounds like some of this would potentially play into, like, the meta game, like, kind of like the overall strategy of MLB Champions. Could you kind of speak on that? Like, how would that kind of work with how this inheriting and the gameplay and all that sort of situation?
Yeah, exactly. This is one of the other reasons why the game card now features 22 players. So you can place any player onto your bench, any extra figures onto your bench, and essentially you use those figures to actually help bolster the inheritance chances for the rewards you'll be earning for those games. So having, Mike Trout with an iridescent bat on your bench and having other players with different attributes on your bench, rare attributes, plays into a higher chance of you earning a reward with one of those special attributes. So basically, we want to make sure that as players are playing the game and games go on and start getting more and more better rewards, they're actually going to get higher chances of earning all of these special items.
So you're saying that basically, like, as I play, my figures can get better, and as I get better figures, I can play those to make more better figures, to then could potentially get better rewards, and so forth and so on until the end of the season.
Exactly.
Awesome. That sounds really cool. And speaking of which, I know we talked a little bit about, we're going to have some surprises in store from the draft, but I think we had some surprises in store in terms of gameplay rewards, maybe some special things that you could only get through gameplay. Can you speak about that?
Exactly. So throughout the season, we're basically going to have these special drops where they can only be earned at the end, or by playing the game, and earned through the rewards at the end of these games. So I don't want to spill the beans on these yet, but they're coming down. They will be there.
Yep.
But we'll announce this pretty much as soon as after gameplay is launched, and these rewards are kind of teased and kind of,
mm-hmm. So I should probably start playing so I could probably see something really cool.
Exactly.
Something really cool shows up that we haven't shown before. That's why, because it's been a little secret until actually, because you can only get it through gameplay, right?
Exactly, only through gameplay.
Cool.
We also have another thing that's actually really cool this season. We actually have these things called legendary event players. So as legendary events are happen during the game, like for example, like a perfect game. So I'm playing a Clayton Kershaw on my game card with the perfect game ability or game event, and that happens during that game. At the end of the game, when the rewards are being generated, we're actually going to create a special legendary event player, Clayton Kershaw perfect game, and those are kind of the special rewards that happen as soon as like something epic happens during the game. So,
So basically, what you're saying is like, if something really cool happens in live MLB games, I can actively take part in something really cool in MLB Champions.
exactly.
Awesome. I love it. So kind of like, also, just a general question for my, because, I'm a big MLB guy. I know players move around a lot. Like, like I've been seeing some players in the draft that like, they've already switched teams because, they've been traded or whatever. Is that going to be kind of a thing moving forward? Like, are all the draft players just always going to be on those teams, or is that something that we're going to be looking into?
So for that specific point, basically what we're doing this year or this season is we're going to update the rosters every week. So it's going to take a snapshot of where all the players are basically where they landed, if they got traded or if they changed positions. That'll all be updated weekly. So as new rewards and new players are being generated, or new figures are being generated, essentially they'll be up to date. So even if you have a player that's got traded, they're still good for your game card. They'll start earning you inheritance. So if you have one that has like a sapphire bat, that's still very valuable. So you'd want to place them on your bench or in your bullpen, and they'll earn you a higher opportunity of getting that special attribute for further rewards.
I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that makes me less concerned about, having guys that have been traded because, hey,
Yeah.
they still could be used. That's pretty rad.
Exactly. And plus, on the fact, basically, those players no longer are part of that team. It's a little piece of history. So you have a piece of history of that player playing on that team. So.
Yep. Yeah. So it's like I had them before they made it. They made their grand slam on their new team.
Exactly.
Nice. Cool. Well, it sounds like Gameplay's got a lot to offer when we go live in May. So what do we see coming after launch of Gameplay? Like, what's next for MLB Champions?
So next for MLB Champions is we're planning to basically come up with the mobile app.
Yeah.
The mobile app. So basically, the big thing here is now you can play on the go.
Mhm.
You're not tied to the web. You can pretty much do everything you can do on the web. The only thing that's restricted for mobile will be the peer-to-peer trading and all the ETH transactions. That's only strictly for web. And also, the 2018 attachments are still coming. So basically, anybody who played in the last season, they can still opt in if they choose to add the attachments to any of their pre-existing 2018 figures. So that's coming down as well.
Nice. I like it. I like it a lot. Well, Steve, I think that's about all the time we got for today. I know we've been pulling a lot of time away from you where you could be making MLB Champions even better, because that's what you do. You just make MLB Champions better and better every day.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. And to all of our people watching, I'd just like to say thank you for playing. And I hope you keep playing like an MLB champion. Thank you very much, and we'll see you later.